guys, and how are you today? You are speaking with ReverendDC, and I bought this entire game to build train lines. And now that I've built train lines, and I'm not even kidding, you can ask Crocs, he'll tell you. I bought this entire train line, or this entire game, to build trade lines. So, I'm going to give you some of the knowledge that I've accrued in my time building train lines, and we'll start out with what you should do first. And that number one is what you should do first is have a plan. If you were curious, yes, I'm using Windows 8, and I love it. Sometimes. Other times it kind of sucks. But anyway, so let's start out with the basics. How do I build rail? Well, here's where a lot of people are like, oh, because you can see here it takes 6 iron ingots and 1 stick to build that many rail. So that's what you get, 16 rail for putting 6 ingots down and 1 stick. You can see here. And that's where you kind of need to start on this, of course. You need rail. So, if you all want to look there, that's how you build rails. Now, powered rails are a little bit different, okay? Powered rails are actually built with gold ingots, and you still need 6. Okay, so there's your 6 gold ingots. Always with rail, you're going to have the ingots lining the outsides, because they kind of make some little sense. Then you put your redstone down. And then and then your sticks down. So it looks like this. That stick is actually not always there, but it makes sense because, you know, the ties, wood ties. And then redstone for power. So that's your powered rail. And you get only 6 of those. So you have to be careful with the powered rail usage, especially if you're doing survival. So we'll take that. Okay, and we look pretty good for right now, right? You will need a crafting table to build rail, so this isn't something you do right off the rip. You kind of have to work at it. Now, rule the first. So let's, I don't know, let's get some dirt here. We're gonna build it. So I'm going to put my wood block down there, right? Go back in my inventory. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab that. Now, obviously, we're just going to show you how. Now, obviously, derp, I mean that pretty much covers it right there, right? So, and you'll see I'm not running out because I'm in creative mode. So, and then, you know, if you return, it will automatically turn with you. This also leaves coolness like that, but that's for a more advanced lesson. Right now, we're looking for, and that will work. I have it all over the system actually, so especially with the orange line. But we'll go over that when it becomes more necessary. Now you see here I put a block behind it, and I go boop, and then boop, this way. So you see here, because the block is behind the powered rail, it tells the rail which way to go. Now, build ourselves a cart. Ta-da! 5. It actually takes less than rail, but you only get 1. So we built ourselves that, and put that back to and then to put it down, you right click on the minecart, and there it goes. Now it's not powered right now, obviously. If it's not obvious, then I'm sorry. So, there you go. So, we'll build that out there, right? Just so we have something. And maybe we'll use them. No, we'll use a button because the buttons make more sense in this setup. Okay. And then you can see the cart go. That's going to be a really major concept, buttons and pushing stuff. Now, there's so many different ways to do this. So we're going to can see it turns off when the power goes off, and it tells it what direction to go in. We can keep building our rail out. Now, here's another tricksy part. It's not going to tell you how far your cart's going to go with somebody in it by testing it this way, because it's only going to go like 8 or 9. But if a zombie jumps in, which is okay, I guess. Guess you want to go for a ride. That's cool. I hope he jumps back in, because that was a good test. Because that is a good enough test for that. Actually, because that gives it weight. Get out of here. Thank you. So, if you push it now, you see how it goes far less distance, maybe 8 to 10 blocks, if that, when it's not loaded. So you can't just like have these things automatically going around with the same distance that I may go in. If you catch my drift, you kind of have to test it. So when I get into it, you see how much farther I go. So depending on if you're in it or not will vary how far the cart goes. Now with freight lines, that obviously isn't a problem because there is weight on it because the chest. So we see this line out here, but you don't really want it to slow down. So you may want to put something here. And you can do this just one at a time, or you can line them up. They will stack. Their effect basically will stack until you reach top speed. And there is a top speed that you cannot go past, so don't try to go faster because it's not really going to work all that well. Okay, now I'm in the cart, and oh, I see. Oops. Oops. That will happen as well. Stupid zombie screwing everything up. Okay. You'll do that a lot too. Don't worry about it. There we go. So you see here, and then you see I get a pretty big boost there as I'm leaving the station. Now, if you're just doing a simple point-to-point, which is what we're going to cover in our lesson 1, a simple point-to-point is simple. Okay, so we're just going to go to a point over here somewhere, right? So we'll just go liney. Point-to-point, really, you don't need too bi-directional. You need more just like, I'm going this way. So, now, these powered rails that work as powered rails and power you, anyway, also act as brakes when they're not on. So as you can see here, that's off. Come on. That's off, right? So we go in here, and we push the button. Now it's on, and I'm going to get pushed towards my other point. And I'm going to get stopped. You can see I kind of run into the brick, so we can actually move this out to see what kind of effect you're looking at with the braking effect. We'll build this out now. Some little nice little buttons. I would rather use wood buttons. They last as long as the stone buttons. So, I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not that critical, yo. So, let's go from this side again. And you see how quickly and how long these things can get. Remember, 30 blocks? If you build one that's 30 blocks long, you've gone 90 feet. So it gets distance pretty good. You can see here as it brakes, it stops me. It's actually the powered rail that's braking me. So you can use this to an effect as well, and you can also have this so that you can make a one-way system, and we can do that by making, where's my pressure plate? There it is. We're going to make a pressure plate. Trust me on this. We're going to do some powered rails. So we're going to go back over here. And we're going to use our iron ingots again. And see, here's one that does not use a stick. You're going to use your Oh, no, I didn't want to use that. Dang it! Dang it! Where's just the regular pressure plate? There it is. Okay, we're going to use the regular pressure plate. Thank you. Put that pressure right there. Yeah, put it on there. Yeah, yeah. Pressure it up. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Give me that pressure plate. And now we have 6 pressure plates. Have you ever woken up in the morning and thought to yourself, man, I wish I had a place as nice and as huge as this. Yeah. Then come to Rebel City, the only city defended by Batman, and that has double walls for your protection, an entire train system to help you get around, and huge buildings that are the envy of every man, woman, and child in the Minecraft verse. Get fucked, everybody, except for us on Rebel server. Come see more at rebelcrew.org if you want to live here. I'm ReverendDC, and I approve of this message. Alright, and after a quick commercial break there, we're back. How you all doing? And as you can see here, we went ahead and used the detector rail, sorry, I've been calling it pressure plates, it's detector rail, to go ahead and make a 2-way booster without having to actually have a redstone torch or even, there it is. Okay, so we'll kick that out, right? Okay, so as you can see right there, you can do it that way as well. So we can see here, the power rail, you can do that. Power rail, you can do that. Power rail, you can do that. You can even do that with a source of redstone on the edge. That'll keep it constantly powered. Whatever. You can do it this way as well. See? Ta-da! And that allows for a purdy. And it'll go bird mouth. You got purdy right there. Can't even see it. So, yep, there's that. Yep. And that way you can keep it hidden as well for aesthetics. But this is one that comes up almost all the time. So you see here, we'll put our cart back here, and we will press go, and hopefully, yep, it will. And you see right there, either way, it's going to push the cart forward, and you can see here the difference in having yourself in the cart rather than just having the cart. So, come on, peeps. Let me get in that. Well, I don't know why it's doing that today, guys, but there it is. Nothing's perfect. And we can go, boop, turns on, and it's already on. Ding! And we're on the other side. And guess what? We've made a powered rail system with all but one of the major ways to go ahead and actually set up the powered rail system. This is what's called a point-to-point. Because it goes from one point to another point. That's point to point. As long as it doesn't keep glitching out on me, we can keep doing that. Sun setting. It's a beautiful sight. So, yeah, there's a point-to-point system. So, pretty effective. Especially when you're first getting started, this is definitely the most effective way to do it. If you didn't have space, for example, if this was on some type of ledge. Oops. Damn mouse. Alright, you're on some type of ledge, and you just want to keep it simple. You know, the kiss method. See, now you got this, and no matter what, that's always going to work. regardless of which direction you're coming in. Now, if you wanted to make this a one-way system, make this a braking, if it was coming the other way, then you just take off whichever direction you didn't want them to come in, and it'll stop. Now, the final part about this is that sometimes you don't want to go just this distance, you want to go a little longer. Here's the beautiful part about powered rail. It carries a current. We'll turn this one off so we don't affect how... But it'll be the same with the redstone block versus the redstone lamp, of course. And then you can see here, perfect timing. That's exactly where the power stopped as I had planned. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It will go 8 away from the power source, and powered rail will carry it. It will stop carrying power if you change this. So it doesn't work with anything else, and you're probably wondering why I don't just keep this on, because that will power more than one. We'll watch it here. And you can see there, a lot of times it will go all the way through. However, you're usually not going to have these powered rails in front of it to push it hard across. It's usually going to be going a little slower. So you can see how it turns off here, and it actually slows down the cart towards the end because there's not enough power to bring you all the way through. Even if I was in the cart, it wouldn't bring you through all 8, and it definitely wouldn't do it reliably. I'd usually limit it to about that many. Two out from the detector rail. I usually actually like to do it as one and then just stack these, because it just gives you a very good consistency for the most part. 2, you will sometimes, depending on your server, get glitched and stuck, which can be really annoying. And the beautiful part about this is that when you make a whole series of just 1s, it also is with 2s. You only have to put 1 on the other end, and that makes it 2-way versus 1-way. And once again, looks like we're having some problems. I have to talk to the sysadmin. I'm going to write him an angry email. That's it. I've decided. And you can see here where we go the other way. Stop. And we go the other way. So that's a point-to-point system, and as you can see here, I'm using a lot more powered rails. So I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 powered rails. Remember, I get that out of one setup. So let's see how far the 6 and 32 will actually take us, because I made 32 of the regular rails. So we know it's going to take us 64, and then the 6 will be plenty enough to get you that far away. So we'll go 1, 2, oops, and also we actually did that 40 long, so pretty sweet there. We'll actually leave this down because that's going to be less in the second. This is, of course, part 1 to do a nice little point-to-point and to teach you the basics of building a train line. As you can see here, you'd probably want to come in from this way because you put the cart down and then you push the button and then you're off. And on the other side, opposite is true, of course. You get off on this side, but you get on this side and push over here, and it goes so you're facing the right direction. And this kind of system, you can just leave one cart, so you don't have to continuously build carts, because you can only really go one way at a time, because if 2 people are going on a line at once in opposite directions on a point-to-point, which is the major drawback, you're going to have problems. You're not going to have a good time, as the kids say. So we've built ourselves a nice little single line point-to-point system using just 1 more, and of course I could use far fewer. It'll definitely reach that distance. You basically can do this with 3 for 32 rails, so you'd set up 2 setups, but for 64 you probably want the full 6 just to keep yourself going. You could probably manage with just the 3, but it would be kind of slow without something boosting you in the middle. So you can see here, the beautiful part about this is that we can reset this, and I'll show you exactly what happens with only 2 powered rails, 1 on each end. So let's go ahead and do that now. So remember, we got 6 from our 6 gold ingots, and 1 pressure plate and 1 redstone. And so this is about 40, so it's actually a couple more rails than what was produced. So we can see here, and as you can see, you can do this with 2. It will reach all the way to the end, as you can see. And going the other way. Very touchy, so making the buttons as easily accessible as possible is a good idea. Hence why they're right next to the rail in the direction that they're looking. So this will get you across, but obviously it'll be a titch slow, and hence why we want to use 3 for a length of this size, usually. So the rule of thumb is, you can, and once you get going, of course, it's a lot easier. And obviously we're glitched this time, so
as long as you identify with your thinking mind, you are always one thought away.
Stuff like this can be annoying, and some servers are glitchier than others. Ours is not too glitchy, but there are certain little things, and you can see they're far faster just with the addition of 1 rail. So once you get going, you're good to go. Then then you'll keep going, and then you can space out your ones a little bit more. Going from a dead stop, obviously, you're going to need another one to boost you pretty quickly. Usually you want to do this 1 every 32 once you get going, 1 every about 10 to 15 when you first get started. Alrighty, I think that's enough for lesson 1. Lesson 2, of course, will be dual lining and multiple stations instead of a point-to-point. You can do multiple stations on a single line, but the less complex way to do it is actually through 2 lining it, as a sneak peek of next time. 2 lines allow you to go in each direction without having complex tracking in the middle. It does use more track, though, so that is something, a consideration that you would want to think about. But we're going to do double lines next time, since it's the next simpler concept, and stations therein. And I'll see you then, hopefully. Thanks again for watching, and see you the next time.